welcome to Detox Bites with me, Sophia, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the Glycemic Index, the GI, which is actually a scale used to measure the amount of carbohydrate in food and the effect it has on a person's blood glucose or blood sugar levels. The standard number on the GI is 100, and this actually represents pure glucose. So actually 100, they say standard, that's high actually. Anything under about 53 on the scale is considered low. So the GI scale is important because it lets you understand how your body is going to actually react to certain foods that you eat. So foods that are high in carbohydrates and that give you a blood sugar spike are often things like refined carbs, so white pasta, white rice, sugary drinks, anything that's high in sugar typically, not natural sugars like fruit. Although some fruit can, but mostly fruits are slightly lower on the scale, but it's often refined and processed foods that will be high on the scale. So foods that are high on the GI scale are broken down and absorbed by the body much quicker. This is actually not necessarily a positive thing because it gives you a blood sugar spike. So the levels of glucose in your blood goes up. You then will often feel like you're hungry again much quicker than you would if you ate something that was lower on the GI scale. So you eat more food than you necessarily would need to, your blood goes up, and then you eat more food, it goes up and down and up and down, can cause your body to not be able to keep up with the insulin levels that it needs to produce, and it can lead to type 2 diabetes and often weight related issues as well. So that's why it's important to eat foods or just to be aware of the GI scale, so you're not always eating super high GI foods all the time. So to give you a little bit of context, highest on the scale is maltodextrin. This is 110, incredibly high on the scale, off the scale, some might say. Don't touch it if you can with a barge pole, it's not great. At 100 we have pure glucose, as I said, and then sugar, white sugar that you would buy in the shops is 65. So pretty high still, quite high. Obviously not as high as glucose. You do get glucose added to things, but yeah, 65 for white sugar. However, do not fear. We sell a number of lovely alternatives to these awful pure white and deadlies. And they're much lower on the scale, much better for you, and we have lots of different ones, so you can get stuck into any of them in all your different recipes. Of the sweeteners that we sell, the highest on the scale is actually coconut palm sugar, which is only 35, so actually on the grand scale it's very low, but of the sweeteners that we sell, it's the highest. Coconut palm sugar, or coconut blossom as it's sometimes called, it has the same texture as brown sugar, and it's really delicious and really good as a substitute in baking if you need to use the same, like if you have to have 100 grams or whatever, then it gives the same bulk in baking as normal sugar would, but is a much better alternative. So coming down, we actually next have agave syrup, which is 15 on the scale, and it's delicious. It's a syrup, so it does work quite differently than coconut palm sugar, but it's very, very popular, one of our most popular sweeteners. Then we have yacon root powder, which comes in at 1. It's just got 1 on the scale. It's not as sweet as agave or coconut palm sugar, but it has a really nice subtle sweetness, and obviously very, very low on the glycemic index. And finally, we have the wonderful stevia, which comes in with 0, which is why often you find a lot of diabetics actually do use stevia in many things. It's very, very sweet, but has 0, so it's often the sweetener of choice for a lot of people that have diabetic issues or just avoiding high GI foods. And we actually do stevia in a powder and a liquid form. So the powder is a lovely bright green, very fine powder, and then we actually have a brand new stevia liquid made by a lovely company in Scotland. It's called Sweet Solutions, and it's a liquid, comes in a little dropper bottle, and it's actually a water-based stevia, and it's lovely, really, really nice. So that's pretty much it for the GI scale. I hope that's given you some context of just what kind of you're buying and eating and all those kinds of things. There's obviously a lot of other foods that are included in, or all foods that are included in there, so you can do some more research yourself. Sophia, stop. They've got better things to do. Okay, fine. Bye.